Hello and welcome everyone, it is me, the Lover, also known as Master Duel, back for you with another video and back in your Master Duel. With, Morphtronics. Played a good couple of games in the last couple of days, sadly not back to Diamond where, I kind of left the whole thing off. But still have a good couple of replays that I did want to share with you guys, just to, start getting back into the swing of things. So let's get into those. Initial replay we're getting into here is something you could call like the funny of the episode. This is against dedicated burn deck. I went first, as you just saw there, from the kind of small, blend in. Going for, a fairly normal gadget gamer line. I do summon the telephone in defense, especially if I have a smartphone in hand. That is something I've, really liked doing recently. It's probably nothing greatly new. Most of you are going to sit there telling me we've known this for years, probably. But, just dumping a Morphtronic off of that telephone to, get that smartphone on the field more easily is very nice, especially if you go for the Excel Synchro Stardust, then later in the line, you can immediately off of the telephone, bring back the smartphone, just have another body to work with, which can be kinda handy. As you can see, I do commit for the Excel Synchro Stardust here. Bringing back the telephone as, Excel Synchro Stardust tends to do. Using the telephone here to bring back the smartphone, going into the one, the only power tool, Braver Dragon. Braver, once again, equipping 3 equipped spells from the deck here. And then we go for the smartphone after, deck thinning for those 3 cards. Unlucky, don't hit anything. Go for a repair unit that, sends the remote and puts that remote back on the field, because this way I can banish the telephone and grab more extension, getting the second repair unit that I have in my hand live, which is kind of the goal here. Going for a repair unit, pitch a cell phone, put the cell phone on the board, trying to hit something big here. Reactant's cool, but sadly not a Morphtronic. Going for a Morphtronic earphone here, and next in line is a new card that has recently joined Master Duel. Left and right arrows, you're seeing it right now on the screen. SP Little Knight has hit the board. Going for an earphone here, equipping to the Braver. On the SP, I'm really enjoying playing with this card. It is an absolutely amazing tool going second, especially for a deck that has easy ways to just turn a guy into a guy that's been summoned from the extra deck, in the form of Link Kuribo. In the end phase, even after seeing that there was a secret blast, I do snipe a back row here with a Braver. But I guess taking 1,000 is better than taking, like, what is this, like 1,500 off for like an activated secret blast. But yeah, SP is a great card. I think incredibly, like, well designed. It's good to interact with, because similar to AP Masquerena, you can kind of threaten combat to get over her. And kind of play around that piece of interaction, and even otherwise, there's some pretty neat interactions you can do with her. Flips a Ceasefire here, in card I haven't seen in a while, at least since I've done Progression series on the channel. And a Dyna tag blocks the SP attack, and Mahama, the Fairy Dragon, is attempting to block the Braver here. Once again, at the end of the main phase here, trying to go for a Braver Dragon to snipe a back row, because I do want those gone as fast as possible, because most of those probably are a bit more dangerous if, they can be activated at a correct point in time. SP letting me take a bit less damage here, off of that one secret blast and Braver Dragon and the Redox that I drew for turn, getting in for game. It's a burn game, sometimes you win those, sometimes you don't win those. But Braver Dragon continuously getting to, either force or, pop those back rows, I think definitely helped here. And with that, we'll move into some, I guess, more traditional Yu-Gi-Oh games. Going second here, if I'm not mistaken, this is against Ninjas. Yep, I was like thinking about a different deck, but that's coming up. Very cool deck overall. Probably playing like a good couple more of the structure deck cards that you don't usually see, and a set 4 does look funny, especially in 2024. But trust me, for Ninjas, this is like 3 points of interaction at the very least. Get ashed here on the Reactant. but I do have the cop by for that, which is very handy, and because I now control a card, my opponent flips the Ninjutsu Notebook Art of Mystery, because that way this is a +1 for them. Going for the Dancing Leaves, tributing the set card here for a Tobari, using the notebook to reset the Mitsu, so they have like an opportunity to fusion summon into the Banish guy. Off of the Tobari here, banishing the Ash of the Corp by the Grave, and resolving the Reactant for the big man himself. Tobari here fuses away the Mitsu, probably wants to get this Redox off on my board, because, you know, usually when you're seeing these kind of level 7s in Master Duel, there's a bunch of tomfoolery about to happen, but I would like to keep the Redox, so, you know, we protect him with a Forbidden Droplet. Not necessarily the usage that Droplet usually gets, but definitely a usage that you can get out of it. Card has been overperforming in the last couple of weeks for me, especially going second into a good couple boards has made it so that I do get to win some games, or like at least try and play some games that I probably couldn't be playing otherwise, which was like a whole lot of fun. Huge fan of that card since I've, you know, started playing it. I do dump some of the Telephone here in defense, which might look weird off of the Converter. But I don't have anything engraved to summon back, and this way I get the Southbound back on top, can dump it off of the Telephone, and once I go for the Excelsior Starters later, bringing back the Telephone, I now have the Southbound to summon back. And with an 8 and a 1 on the field, there's not a whole lot else to do, except synchro into the man, the myth, the legend. Power 2 Braver Dragon hits the board, equipping 3 equip spells here. Going for the Smartphone afterwards, because now, you know, we've essentially casually deck thinned for like 3 cards. Which is very nice, adding a Telephone here, which is going to be very lovely follow-up. Turning a Smartphone, as mentioned earlier, you know, cards crazy in the deck where you can easily turn a guy into a guy from the extra deck, and Link Kuriboh and Southbound once again make an SP Little Knight. What a twist. The card's incredible in this deck, absolutely loving it. Puts in quite a bit of work. Can't attack directly though. After I'm using that first effect to banish a card, opponent draws for turn, returns that Dancing Leaves to the hand, and scoops it up. Ninja's just a deck that needs too many cards to really get going, and into Braver and SP, not really too easy to get that going again. But with that, let's move into another game against, I believe, Resonator should be the deck. Yes, it should be Resonators. We'll see. And my opponent is going first. Draws for turn here. Or doesn't. This is not Edison. Normal is so Resonator. It was indeed Resonator. I've watched these like 10 minutes ago, but yeah, Goldfish Brain really starts kicking at one point. Goes for, I guess, you know, could say the normal Resonator line. Goes Bone Archfiend, dump a Crimson Resonator, modulates the level, makes a Red Rising Dragon, bringing back that Crimson Resonator. This deck looks so sick, by the way, after the new support. Hooked a friend on this because he played Resonator back in the day. And have built this in Master Duel myself. It's quite a lot of fun. I think this is what I played the Synchro Xyz Fusion Festival with, like, for the majority of it. Especially the Bestial variant, because I'm a huge fan of the Bestial engine. Does put in quite a lot of work and has a very solid grind game. And yeah, my opponent goes for the all-in play instead of making, like, you know, Hot Red Disparter. We are choosing to make the Hydrogen Bomb. We are making Red Supernova Dragon. Absolutely crazy card, that guy. On the Effect Veiler here, I do decide to cop by the Grave because I feel like there's not a whole lot else I can cop by in the combo, and I get like, absolutely rewarded for it. Flips an Impermanence on the Telephone here. I get a Droplet, a Telephone that is resolving on the field, and now things get silly. Droplet negates the Red Supernova Dragon until the end phase. I get, you know, cop by on the Effect Veiler out here. And Telephone gets to roll a die and bring itself back. This card, man, this card is so silly. Fires the Red Supernova Dragon, probably just so, you know, it doesn't get hit with that prompt anymore at every second opportunity. And now Telephone can do Telephone things, bringing back Southbound. That is the correct thing to do here. Going for a Southbound here, revealing a good couple of guys off the top. Remoten is very nice because I still have the Redox resummon, the resummon of the Redox later down the line, so I do want to insulate myself against like a potential another hand trap here by making an early Baron de Fleur. Turning Redox and Telephone here into an Excelsior Crustados, and I think we all know where an Excelsior Crustados is going. Excelsior Crustados brings back a Telephone, and before I, do anything else, because I do want more advantage out of that Telephone, I turn the Telephone into a Link Kuriboh, and now can use the Telephone to bring back said Telephone. And now, yeah, as kind of teased earlier, we are once again sinking into Portal Braver Dragon, who will equip 3 equip spells from the deck, or 2 in this case, because I've drawn the third one. Southon is able to, once again try and hit something here, but I'm feeling very confident on the spot state, pulling out a Smartphone from the deck, trying to, maybe we hit something cute for the follow-up. Remoten's a very good card, especially with the Redox in the grave. Does make a very nice Cheng Ying on a potential turn 3. I don't know why I popped the red zone here, and not the Crimson Gaia. In League, you'd be getting question mark pinged for a move like this, but this isn't. This luckily isn't League. I go for the SP Little Knight here once again, putting in a massive amounts of work. Banish the Bone Archfiend because that gets rid of a lot of the follow-up that this deck can produce. Can't attack directly because of the SP effect after clearing the red Supernova Dragon with the Braver and passing turn. But realistically, with the Crimson Gaia on field, 2 cards left in hand, beating SP Baron Braver is, it's a tall order, especially since the Bone Archfiend would have to target anyways, which you can't do while the Braver has all the equips on the field. Go for the SP here, banishing that Soul Resonator once it activates its effect. And after my opponent adds a Wandering King Wildwind, that's the end of their turn. Kashtira Fenrir makes a cameo, I guess. This is, I believe, from a time where I played like the 1, maybe? This should be a 41 card list, maybe. But yeah, get ashed on the Remoten here, but no real worries. I do still have the Smartphone in hand, so I can indeed, as mentioned earlier, turn Remoten and the Redox after I summon it back into the boy. Sword Soul Supreme Chungus Bungus. Banishing one of the Smartphone here, going for Cheng Ying, banishing the Crimson Resonator and the Crimson Gaia. Clicking Smartphone because I can. Realistically, I could have gone to combat ages ago. Going to punch over with Smartphone, punching with SP, punching with Braver, punching with Baron because we need to play around Goss, and then Cheng Ying finishes the game. But I guess with a lot of these like more interactive games out of the way, let's look at a classic fishbowl game where my opponent does not find a singular hand trap. We're going first. It's time to duel. Leading the 1-for-1 here, I do believe, retaining the normal summon in this deck is quite cool. Especially if you open 1-for-1. Does give you the opportunity to potentially, either force a hand trap early or still have, plays left because you still have your normal afterwards. Once again, showing the incredible power of Morphtronic Telephone here because a Southon suddenly gets a Telephone. The Telephone brings back the Southon, and if the Southon hits, you're already well on your way into an Apollosa, which is incredibly good. Does give this deck like a whole lot more combo potential in that regard because you have like a revealable extender that does quite a bit if you put it on the field. Southon here reveals another Telephone. Things are about to get really silly. Making the Orsa here, that's been a tried and true staple for a couple months at this point now. Turning that and a Telephone and a Southon that have been spent into an Apollosa, and now I still have a Telephone on the board. A lot of silliness ensues, which is Telephone for Telephone. And then Telephone brings back this Remoten. Might look weird, but because you're not always getting that high roll, and this way I can, get into my synchro plays easier. I do decide to take the Remoten here, afterwards going for a Converter, stacking that Telephone back on top for a Southon, resetting that soft once per turn, which I believe important part to be doing. Then I get rewarded for that play, because with that second Remoten on the field, I can now turn Remoten and Earphone into a Power Tool Dragon, which of course can grab me another extender or just get the, Life Extreme out of the deck. So I do have like one less bad reveal in the deck. Excelsior Crustadas hits the board here, bringing back a Telephone. Pretty standard stuff at this point. Telephone here hits a 6, which I do take because I do have a Life Extender in hand. I can bring back the Earphone and already guarantee myself that Naturia Beast once I commit this Repair unit. Braver Dragon is able to equip the all 3. Repair unit sends the Telephone, and I bring back a Telephone here, which I use immediately, rolling a 3, bringing back Remoten, because this way I get more extension, and extension is great. We love extension in this household. Turning Telephone and Earphone here into something that has an animation now in Naturia Beast. I think this was added like last patch or something. Kind of cute. And from here on out, the idea basically would just be, you know, putting the smartphone on the board, revealing a couple cards, maybe grabbing follow-up or something like that. But you also have like an easy setup here for IP and for IP with like a Link Kuriboh next to it and a way to make an SP Little Knight on the opponent's turn, which is of course another great piece of interaction that, you know, is easily accessible and pretty solid in my opinion. So yeah, with that, I think we'll take a look at the deck list and I'll send you guys off. This is currently where I am at, or what I've used for, you know, these last couple games. I know it's weird to do, you know, change the deck list after I've made a deck profile about the deck list that I've kind of enjoyed. But I wanted to give Triple Tactics Talent a try. I like that card. Master Duel has this like weird phenomenon where you either get hand trapped like 3 times, or you get hand trapped 0 times, which not great. So this can definitely be like that on some hands, but it does put in quite a lot of work. I'd say personally probably better off in a list that has like a lot more good draws off of it. Specifically, let me pull it up real quick. Machine Duplication. I think if you're running Machine Dupe, Triple Tech gets like a lot better because most of your normal summons that if they get interrupted, be they Self-Fawn or, you know, potentially a Gadget Gamer, do get kind of crazy with like Machine Duplication, because it's always a good draw, and you know, it's more ways to like easily find it on 1, especially if you are getting interrupted early, which can be kind of cute, realistically. Otherwise, not a whole lot of changes. You know, Morphtronics stayed the same. Ash is still here as like a good answer into Maxi. And also like a fairly applicable hand traps in corner cases, but mainly against Maxi. We have the gamers, we have the reactants for, you know, the Gadget Hauler and the Redox, the big idiots that help us make those synchros. More Master Duel attacks in Harpy's Feathered Duster, the 1-for-1, the 3 Converter. Still absolutely not regretting going up to 3 on that card. Absolutely loving this. Makes lines like so much cleaner. And helps, you know, get you to those important Morphtronics when you really need them. The Braver equips are still here, the Repair unit, and then capping off the main deck are Caught by the Grave and Forbidden Droplet. Again, card that has been putting in so much work for me these last couple of weeks. It is incredibly nice to play this deck and not look at the coin toss, see going second, and be like, well, we'll get him next time. Otherwise, the actual deck changes because of SP are, I'd say, fairly interesting. I did shave the Nightmare Unicorn and the Access Code Talker. Don't really have like another, didn't really have like a 100% replacement for like the Access Code Talker. But SP just like the 100% replaced Unicorn. It's just like a much better IP Masquerader summon. You could probably still be playing Access Code. I threw in like a Formula Synchron just for, you know, the time being. Maybe I'll play Access Code again in this. I think Access Code just gets much weaker once you don't play a Link 3. I think getting that 5300 guy in does get you over like a good couple of thresholds, but like that and like another like big bungus clears the game. Which a 4300 Access Code just doesn't. Silly concern, but you know, I'm not playing a Cyber stack, so you know, I can't do the funny update gem or Access Code thing. Otherwise, known faces by now. Earphone, Beast, Power Tool, the Draco Berserker, Excelsior Crusaders, Braver, Baron, Chungus, Link Kuriboh, IP, Author, Apollosa, and My Religion. If you want some more insight on this deck, the deck profile has gone up like 2 weeks ago, and even with like the minority of changes that I've made to this list, a lot of the theory behind it still holds up very well. But with all that out of the way, on a more personal note, it's been a rough few weeks. I'm very thankful for you guys to, like, you know, sticking with the channel. The channel has even gained like a couple subscribers over that space and time, which is like insane. Thanks so much. We're getting closer to 800, which is another very humbling milestone for me to reach, because realistically, I'm just sitting here talking about like this silly deck that I picked up when I was like, you know, half my current size and still in school. And yeah, I hope that like things can get back to like a somewhat normal schedule soon-ish enough. But at the moment, I do have like a couple, you know, personal things to figure out. But I will try my absolute hardest to, you know, more consistent post, because I'm really enjoying this. Otherwise, I wouldn't be doing this even after 3 years. And I can't wait for like a couple of the things that I do still have planned for the channel. But all that out of the way, I will thank you guys so very much for sticking with me. It really means a whole lot to me. Absolutely great. But yeah, with all that out of the way, well, thank you guys very much for watching. I'll be seeing you guys again next time. But until then, goodbye.